let's understand complexity, right? We're dealing with a lot of complexity. Let's talk about the VUCA world. Where does complexity come from? Right? One of the ways to think about complexity, and I came across this in the book, The End of Power. And one way to think about it, and I think it's a very neat way to think about complexity, is the three dimensions or three elements that contribute to complexity. The first one being more, right, or more of everything, right? So if you think about the number of devices or the number of gadgets that you carried, say 5 years back, 10 years back, and the number of devices you have now, probably more, right? The number of employees, the number of offices, the number of customers, the number of countries you're operating in if you're a business. It's all increased basically. So one dimension or one element is more of everything, right? More devices, more users, more data, etc., etc. The second element of complexity is movement or mobility. So everything is moving. There are so many variables, and the variables are moving, right? They're interacting with each other and they're changing, they're moving. And this applies to information. As the world becomes more digital, this becomes more and more real. Movement, right? And this movement of goods, the movement of information, this movement of people, this movement of ideas. So that's another element of complexity that contributes to complexity. And then the third element is mindset, right? So there's a mindset of people wanting more choices, people wanting more freedom, more equality, etc., more democracy and democratic values, etc. So there's more sort of movement, more freedom that people seek, and so more choices that they seek, and it creates this mindset, right? So where people start thinking, if Amazon can do it, why can't XYZ company do it, right? Why can't this retailer do it? Why can't my utility company do it? If Amazon is able to do it, why can't I have those choices and those conveniences that, say, an Amazon is providing me or a Google is giving me? So the making of complexity involves the more movement or mobility, and the third one being the mindset. So how do you deal with complexity? What do you do to deal with complexity? One way to think about it, complexity is, there's this law called the law of requisite variety. It's a good place to start, I think. The law of requisite variety basically says that you need variety to absorb variety. That is, a system needs to have a variety of actions, needs to take a variety of actions in order to deal with the variety of demands that is placed on it from its environment. Right? So if you're a business and complexity is rising in your environment, you need to have enough variety of actions, enough diversity in the thinking, in the action that you're taking as a business in order to deal with it, for that system to be viable, for that business to be viable. So the law of requisite variety, and you can look that up on Google, is a good place to start thinking about, okay, how do we deal with complexity? So at an individual level, how does it show up? At an individual level, what it means is that you need to have requisite variety in yourself, in your own thinking, which means that you need to constantly be challenging your own theories of how you're doing things. You need to be looking for other theories, learning from others on how they're doing things, especially things that are different from how you're doing, and try to integrate that. So in a way, have a very sort of self-transforming mind, if you will. It's constantly looking for new pieces of information and integrating it within itself. So at an individual level. At a team level, it's about diversity and inclusion that's often being talked about, which is that you need a diversity of perspectives, which means you need to get people together to share their perspectives, because people come with different experiences and perspectives. But the leader needs to be able to include those perspectives, right? Set up the environment in such a way that people are able to share their perspectives, and those perspectives are included in the decision making and the actions that the team is taking. So this is at a team level, how this can show up. From a mindset standpoint, I already talked about the self-transforming mindset, but specifically within that, the ability to be curious, right? Especially about failures, errors, anomalies, things like that, right? So become very curious about failures, anomalies, variations, because they can lead you to new pieces of knowledge, sort of this variety that you have not sort of been aware of. And the last one is the process, right? From a process standpoint, I think the key piece of it is probably iteration, right? The ability to iterate gives you the ability to discover new variables, new pieces of knowledge as you iterate through the problem, right? Through that problem-solving process, as you're grappling with that complexity, you're going to find new pieces of knowledge. So you have to give yourself more chances to discover those new pieces of knowledge. And iteration as a fundamental construct at a process level helps in doing that.